the Something Else Podcast.
Welcome back, my Septhrins, to episode 3. I genuinely don't know what a Septhrin is. I think I tried to be smart with brethren. Maybe shouldn't have done that. Either way, a Septhrin is a Something Else Podcast maniac. I just kind of shortened Something Else Podcast to Sep. Anyway, this episode is all about something that is very close to my heart, which is not chest hair, it is music. Now, a bit of self kind of promotion, if that's what you want to call it. But basically, I play in a band. I've played in a few, mostly just backing vocals and guitarist, where now I play singer or vocalist and bassist. Now, the reason I want to do a bit of, as I'm just going to call it self-promotion, is because the band I'm currently in, we're doing quite a lot of covers. Now, we've done covers in the previous bands, generally not covers people, well, the average crowd would know, put it that way. The band before this one, we did a cover of a song by A Perfect Circle, The Outsider. No one knew it in the crowd. I think we finished the song and everyone just kind of stood there looking at us, and only one person clapped, and I think that was the drummer. Anyway, because we're doing covers, you do have to tread carefully. I mean, we're not going to be recording them and trying to sell them, because obviously we're going to get someone knocking on the door saying, you don't have the rights to do that. And that's exactly the first part of what this podcast is about. So we're going to be looking at artists and bands that have basically been sued for copyright infringement. Now, I'm not doing a whole lot of them. I think I've got I've got 3. So 3 of the biggest ones. Over the last 5 years, there's just been an influx of someone saying, oh, they ripped that off me and I've got nothing for it. I've got no royalties and no more money. But you get my point. So I guess the title of this podcast is music done? Is music dead? And I don't believe it is. Music's such a vast realm of imagination, you know, you can be taken away to a whole new level of just euphoria, really. So, to start with, we'll go to Ed Sheeran. Now, he is kind of like a bittersweet for me. I really, really don't like his voice. I know it's his talking voice in a way, and when he sings, it sounds exactly the same as his talking voice. But I really like the way he writes music, he composes. His lyrics are brilliant. Sometimes he does a lot of lyrics where what he's actually singing is one thing, but the meaning is something completely different. Which reminds me, which is a completely different genre, but of Thin Lizzy with Phil Lynott from the singer and the bassist. Like, he could tell you a great war story about Ireland, and it's actually about his drug addiction. But we'll go back to Ed Sheeran, because why not? Well, that hit song, Thinking Out Loud, which is, you know, it's a great song. It was actually my wedding song. But the Marvin Gaye estate, as you know, Marvin, if you didn't know, Marvin Gaye died. Well, he was killed by his own dad, by the gun he brought his dad. Ugh. But basically, they went after him because they said that Ed Sheeran's Thinking Out Loud ripped off Let's Get It On by Marvin Gaye. It's quite funny because it originally came out in, like, the whole lawsuit in August 2016, and then it got dismissed in February 18th, but then they redid it again in June 2018, and they won. They actually won, and cutting a long story short, Ed Sheeran had to pay something silly like $100 million in damage structured asset sales. I mean, how crazy is that? But I mean, it's one of those ones. There's got to be a fine line. Like, if you actually watch or listen to the songs, there are similarities. There are patterns copied. Sometimes you've got to think, in that kind of music, you're following, I guess, a chord progression. You know, typically, if you like nursery rhymes, most of them are in the key of C. Like, if you sing Bar Bar Black Sheep, it's almost exactly the same as Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Hang on, I need a drink. Ah, lovely. So it's only going to keep occurring where you get the same chord progression, the same pattern, the same, there's going to be repetition. And I think it's not just in, what is it, R&B or pop or whatever. You get it in everything. You get it in rock and roll. You get it in metal and, punk. And I think it's just sometimes, it's just a case of saying, look, I was inspired by this band or this artist. But sometimes they don't do it. And even when they do say, this is who inspired me, they still come after them. Because it wasn't just Ed Sheeran that the Marvin Gaye estate went for. We all know the classic song, Blurred Lines by Robin Thicke. In August 13, I think it was actually Robin Thicke that tried to sue the Marvin Gaye family to basically say that it wasn't a similar song because the Gaye estate was saying that they'd copywritten it or copied it of some form. And they were saying, oh, no, it's not. But then in 2015, they were found to have actually, ripped off the song. Because if you put a side-by-side comparison, what was that song they were doing? Got to Give It Up by Marvin Gaye. If you put them side by side, it is identical. Like down to the tiniest details, it is identical. And I think the Gaye family was awarded $7.4 million, which is insane. But then it's like, sometimes it is just a case of saying, look, this band inspired me. Like with the bands I've been in, the amount of times we've wrote a song and we're like, yeah, you can see where that comes from. Because you wear your influences on your sleeve. So your influences are coming through the music. I really love Black Sabbath and I really love blues. Jimi Hendrix, Albert King. I love them because they resonate with me. So when I'm writing something or I'm, bringing something to the table for the band, you will hear them influences. I'm not going to come in with, I don't know, just a change up of Smoke on the Water because everyone's going to know, yeah, that's Smoke on the Water. You know what I mean? Vapor on the H2O. That's awesome. Anyway, the next one isn't actually to do with the Marvin Gaye estate, but it is a classic one. It's David Bowie and Queen with Under Pressure, and if you haven't guessed already, it's Vanilla Ice with Ice Ice Baby. Now it's the other two. I know Marvin Gaye estate has gone for many more than just Ed Sheeran and Robin Thicke and Pharrell Williams, but I can understand that one because if you listen to the track side by side, you can hear the differences, you can hear the similarities. And then eventually I do believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe they've actually now put, royalties for the band, for the Gaye estate. But Vanilla Ice is just a whole different ballgame. So, if you don't know Under Pressure, it has a great bass line. You're probably singing it now. Ding, 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 ding. Ding, 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 ding. Right? Oh my god, the video's on YouTube. Just go and watch it. Vanilla Ice talking about Under Pressure. But basically, his, as in Vanilla Ice, his bass line goes... He adds in one duh. Just one. And in his head, that was enough to say it's not the same. Despite it literally being in time, it's in the exact same key, same note, same everything. All he did was added a note, and Queen or Bowie, not one of them got royalties, didn't get a mention, because in Vanilla Ice's mind, it weren't the same. But the best part is, in an interview, he actually said he sampled it. Which, you sample something, you've got to give the original artist the credit. You can't go and do, let me think, I can't even think of a song right now. For instance, Living on a Prayer. You do that, whoa, living on a prayer. You do that, right? And then you don't give Bon Jovi some credit. He's going to go mental. You know what I mean? He hit that kitchen he's got where you pay what you think. It would go bust. That's what would happen. He wouldn't be living on a prayer. He would be living in rage. And I just find it weird because you're playing in a band, and I've seen it before just doing gigs. I've saw a couple of bands where they've done, this is going into covers, but they've done a song, and you can hear its influences, and you just think, if you ever became big, you are screwed, because you're gonna have to give someone money. Goddamn, that beer's good. And it's, if you don't follow music, especially in like the rock and roll, or not rock and roll, but in the rock side of things, There's a massive one. It's been going on for years with Led Zeppelin. And I think it was this year. It's finally been like all cleared. But what happened was, I can't remember the band. Was it Spirit with Taurus? The band's either called Spirit and the song's called Taurus, or the band's called Taurus and the song's called Spirit. But basically, I love saying basically, everyone knows, even if you're not a Led Zeppelin fan, you know Stairway to Heaven. And Jimmy Page said it best, and this is what I mentioned earlier, where it's all about chord progression. You can't copyright a chord progression. You know what I mean? If you go and throw, I don't know, A minor with D to E minor, how many other bands or artists are going to use that to write a song? You can't copy it or copyright it, because it's music. It's a part of, you know, what you learn. And Jimmy Page said that, and the problem was if you look at, I mean, the reason why his got thrown out is because they didn't actually listen to it. They just put the sheet music kind of side by side and realised, yeah, it doesn't actually match up. But if you listen to it, there are similarities. You can hear the chord progression, but it is different. And it finally got settled, which I'm chuffed about. I mean, I know a lot of people always like crap on Led Zeppelin because they stole the lyrics, they stole the riffs and this and that and this and that. But it doesn't take it away from them. That, you know, I would like to think that Jimmy Page is quite open and say, yeah, this band inspired me. But, you know, this is the world we live in. I mean, Led Zeppelin's from the 60s and it's still going on now in 2020. But we're going to go on to a different thing now instead of copyright, which is covers. Now, covers, there's a grey area. And this is the one thing I've always tried to explain in with people. Like, if someone does a cover, should they keep it to the original or should they put their twist on it? Now, I know a load of covers. Like, if you listen to 50s rock and roll, you've got Eddie Cochran, who did Summertime Blues. Love the song. It's classic old school rock and roll. You know, it's just a couple of guitars and the classic kind of Elvis vibe voice, because everyone pretty much idolized Elvis. I mean, back then, if, you know, Eddie Cochran, his voice was heavily influenced by Elvis, so he started to sing like Elvis. Would he have got copyrighted by that? No. But anyway, I'm going off my point. I'm going down the wrong path. Ooh. But anyway, I forgot my point now. Covers, that's right. The Who did a cover of Summertime Blues, but they put their twist on it. And it was amazing. So, what I've done is I've wrote down some covers that I think are just amazing. Now, these are my personal preferences or opinions. And then I've wrote some that just should never have been made. Ever. So, the best. Now, I brought this particular album when a band called Volbeat released their Seal the Deal and Boogie album. And all because I heard this song on the radio. So if you've ever listened to the band Disturbed, you will know what song I'm talking about. The Sound of Silence. Now, I'm not a fan of the vocalist's voice because it sounds like he should be like the villain in a Toy Story film. But the way he delivered this song, they did a cover of a Bowie song. What was it? But the cover they did was pretty much just a straightforward cover of this David Bowie song. But it was just heavy. But when they did Sound of Silence, holy crap, they literally changed it. It was depressing, like, but in not in a good way, but in like an emotional way. It didn't sound crap. I thought it sounded amazing. The build up was beautiful. It starts off dead quiet, really sorrowful. Then at the very end, it's just like, you know, suddenly I really don't like My Chemical Romance, but if you listen to, was it Welcome to the Black Parade, how it goes really kind of, you know, slow and horrible, and then suddenly it's just balls to the wall, amazing. That's what Sound of Silence is like. It was amazing, and I do think it was better than the original. Another song I think's better than the original is Mad World. This is, and I know Gary Jules gets you know, a lot of shit for this, but I like his version because I think because of how he delivers the lyrics, it makes it sound a whole lot more emotional than what it actually is. Because Tears for Fears one, it's great. I like the drums in it. I like the weird kind of industrial sound in a way it's got. But the thing that ruined it was the bloody Batman sound. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go on YouTube or Spotify, type in Tears for Fears, Mad World, and listen. If you ever watched any clips of the original 1960s Batman show, when it was like a transition screen from like the Batcave to the police station or something, it'll do this terrible impression of it, I know. But the damn song does that. The Tears for Fears original song of Mad World has this weird sound midway through. Out of nowhere. It doesn't even fit. It literally doesn't fit. All around me are familiar faces. It's just like, it's like a batarang hit you in the face while you're having a crap. You just don't expect it. And I think that Gary Jules won because of how he adds another layer of kind of sorrowfulness, especially because there isn't any... I think it's just his voice in the piano, isn't it? Beautiful. Absolutely love it. This one, what I'm going to talk about now, threw me, to be honest. What was it? Florence and the Machine. You've Got the Love. Sometimes I feel like throwing my hands up in the air. Singing is on point today. Did I mention I'm a vocalist? Hire me. Anyway, I genuinely thought that that they wrote that. It wasn't until I was in the car. Me and my wife were driving somewhere. It could have been going to like, I don't know, Nuki or something. And the song came on. But it was the original by The Source featuring a woman I can't remember. And I was just like, ew, this is a crap cover. She looked at me with nothing but pity and shame and said, this is the original. At that point, I thought, how the hell did I not know that? And I just didn't. I thought the Florence and the Machine one was ace. I didn't realise that The Source's original version of it was that one. And I was just like, oh God, it sounds awful. And I think that's the problem when you've heard a song too many times, or you only know the one side of it, the one cover, the one version. When you hear, say, the original, you just think, wow. You know what I mean? You just don't expect it. And it's, yeah, I just think the Florence and the Machine version is really cool. Like, they do a wicked version. I don't think they've ever recorded it, but they do a wicked version of The Chain by Fleetwood Mac. Now, I love that song, but I think because of her voice and the way she delivers, it's so theatrical. But it was amazing anyway. But they're the good ones. They're three of the good ones. Let me just have another drink. Oh, God. I'm drinking Shipyard Ale. Big Dave, that goes to you. The next category we're going to talk about is the worst. Again, this is my own opinion. So don't hate me. So I'm going to start off with something that's not rock related, well, in a way, but the artist who covered this particular song isn't rock by any means. You could say she's pretty shit. It's Britney Spears covering I Love Rock and Roll. Now, if I remember correctly, I know Joan Jett did I Love Rock and Roll, but I'm pretty sure that someone else did it first. Let me just Google it on my phone. I Love Rock and Roll. Where is it? I Love Rock and Roll. Can't forget the un. Let's see who sang it first. I'm pretty sure they covered it off someone else. Who originally performed it? So, I Love Rock and Roll was a rock song written by Alan Merrill and Jake Hooker and first recorded by the Arrows. Okay. Excuse me. So, in 1975 it was first recorded, and then in 1982, Joan Jett and the Blackhearts did it themselves. Now, I'll be honest, I've never heard the original. I've only ever known Joan Jett's one. So, again, just like I said before, when you've only heard the one, you know, it's quite difficult to get used to the others. So, I'm just going to base this off Joan Jett because she's fucking awesome. Now, when Britney Spears did it, I don't know what the hell she was thinking. Because I don't know what the hell the sounds are in the song. Like, she's got some weird-ass drums in it, and like this weird, like, I don't know, it's like the start of dubstep or something. It's such a weird sample of something. It's horrible. And like, the riff is amazing anyway, and in Joan Jett's one, she does that weird kind of scream just before it goes, and it's amazing. But when I heard Britney Spears, even at like, I can't remember how old I was when it came out, but I was just like, what has she done? Why are these pop stars ruining rock songs? You know what I mean? It's just like, I don't think she can sing anyway. She's too squeaky. She sounds like a helium balloon on helium in a microphone through a Miku pedal, if you know what that is. Which brings me swiftly on to my next controversial band, Limp Bizkit. Now, everyone likes, keep rolling. Anyway, so I think in every podcast, this is the third one, dumbass. I've spoke about my hookup, The Who, right? I love the band. They really got me into music. Just generally the aggression they had, the frustration, and you could hear it projected into the music. They did a song on, I think it's The Who's next album, and it's called Behind Blue Eyes. And it was Pete Townsend, pretty much the sole writer of the music and the guitarist. It was about him, his struggles with drugs and everything, and basically trying to find himself. And it was an amazing song. He doesn't sing in it, but Roger Daltrey's delivery, crazy amazing. Now when Limp Bizkit did it, my God, did he ruin it. For a start, he can't sing. Secondly, he added a verse. Now, if you're doing a cover, I'm all up for it, change it a bit, which they did. But don't add stuff, because it makes it worse. There's a reason why you cover it, not alter it. I mean, saying that, this isn't on my paper, but this is a good example of altering or adjusting a song. The Cranberries, Zombie, me and my band of covering that. We're doing it in a slightly different way. We've kind of gave it more of to me it sounds like more of a war anthem. But I'm going to get the band wrong. Bad Wolf, they did a cover of it, and they were originally supposed to do the cover with, I forgot her name, with the Cranberry singer. What the hell's her name? Hang on. Let's have a look. The Cranberries. Excuse me. Niall Quinn. I'm just going to go with that. So basically, they were going to do the song with her, and I think it was a couple of days or so before they went to the studio. She died, so they weren't able to do it, so they did it in tribute to her. There's one part in the song, if you don't know the song, it goes, "It's the same old theme since 1916. But this song, by the way, came out in 2018. But what they did, they said, it's the same old thing since 2018. A subtle change, but it was amazing. And the next part after that, what's the line? With their tanks and their bombs and their bombs and their guns in your head. That part, right? But they don't do that. Oh no, they say, with their tanks and their bombs and their drones. It's a subtle change, but it's completely different to the original, but it worked. But what Limp Bizkit did with one of the best songs The Who made, ruined it. Literally ruined it. I went that high. That's how angry I'm getting. And it's just a terrible song. I don't like Limp Bizkit much anyway. I like the crossover between rap and metal, but it just don't work. I'm pretty sure, is it Little John? The one that always shouts? Okay, him. I'm pretty sure he invented crunk, which is a version of that. He did that song, "Let's Go, if you want it, you can get me, let me know." And that was Crazy Train, but that worked. And I'm pretty sure that, because they use that riff, the deeny, deeny, neeny, neeny, what Randy Rhoads does, I think Ozzy or someone gets royalties for it, or somewhere along the line, because there was never any beef with that. But yeah, Limp Bizkit, I can't stand his cover of that. The last one, again, probably more controversial figure than Limp Bizkit ever was, Marilyn Manson. Now, some of his stuff I absolutely love. Like growing up in a house where your dad listens to Motown and reggae, and then your mum brings out Cliff Richard and glam rock. Somehow you get to Soft Cell, and the band did a song called Tainted Love. And this is where I'm torn, because I love that song. I love it so much, especially the original. And then Marilyn Manson came out, but he did a straight cover, just made it heavier with, I guess, his twist on it. But it worked. But the song he covered in this case didn't work at all. Now this song is classic. It's literally one of the best songs. Everyone knows it. It's got the same name as the album it came from from 1979 from the band AC/DC, Highway to Hell. Yes, I'm pointing as if you can see me. Imagine you're looking at me. I'm over here, I'm to the left, now I'm to the right. Not that you'll be able to see that because I'm recording mono. And you wouldn't see it anyway, you'd hear it. Ooh, techie. But yes, he did a cover of Highway to Hell and it's shit. Like, it doesn't even sound like it. Like, it's just him kind of, doing a throw-up, screamy, achy voice thing, and it's just horrible. I mean, if you've heard the song, you'll know how good the original is. It just starts off with that beautiful stack amp sound, and then everything gradually comes in, and the build-ups are great, but his version, my God, like, don't listen to it. Listen to it for the purpose of what I'm on about, but for God's sake, don't listen to it. And I think that's what was bringing me to my thoughts of, is music dead? Like, is it done? Because everyone seems to be screwing each other over, like, oh, that this person's took my song and didn't give me any money for it. Like, I don't like pop music or hip hop much. I listen to it, but I'm not a fan of it, just because it sounds too clean, and most of the time it is because it's digital, if that makes sense. So, for instance, they might get a drummer in, he might do a nice little groove, but then they'll sample the drum kit, so they're then putting a drum kit sound onto what he's played, so it's not really him playing then. But I mean, lots of metal bands do that. But it's like Katy Perry, she did a song called Dark Horse, I want to say. Dark Horse, I think it is. Black Horse is a pub I used to go to. Listed building, it can't be knocked down. Really wish it would open again. The Dark Horse song, love it. The bass is phenomenal. But I'm going to go off on a rant here. But I can't remember the dude's name, but this Christian rock band or whatever it is sued her because he said that she ripped off his song. I can't remember exactly how hers goes, but it's such like, it follows the same ascending pattern, but the notes are completely different. You know what I mean? So you just think, seriously, just because it sounds similar, does it mean it's the same? You know what I mean? But the thing with Dark Horse is, and this is what annoys me with people listening to, say, metal and rock. They're always like, oh, rock's about the devil and this and that and this and that. And I'm like, no, it's not. There are genres like that, but if you listen to the majority of rock, it's not. For instance, listen to the Kinks. They sing about Lola. Listen to the Who. They sing generally just about being a teenager who's having troubles. You know? You listen to Highway to Hell, it's Highway to Hell. Listen to AC/DC, it's generally talking about having a good old time and having more good old times. Now, in Dark Horse, right, I know this is one song. I don't know the dude that does the little rap part in it. But he uses the line, something like, let me get the line. It's something to do with your heart. Hang on. Because when I first heard it, I was like, how did that not get, like, blocked? There it is, Dark Horse lyric. Something like, she'll eat your heart out like Jeffrey Dahmer. Where is it? There it is. So he goes, she's a beast, I call her Karma. She'll eat your heart out like Jeffrey Dahmer. Now, if you don't know who Jeffrey Dahmer is, he was a serial killer back a day, right? And he used to eat his victims. To say his victims was young is well, you know, is the truth for a start. But how the hell did that song get away with that lyric? You know what I mean? Whereas something like, in the old days, again, going to copyright, but the Kinks used the Lola song. And in one part he goes, oh, my Lola. Then he says something to do with Cherry Cola. And they had to cut it out because Cola didn't like it. And then Dark Horse, I know this is different era, but Dark Horse used a bloody lyric about a serial killer. And it's fine. You know what I mean? You got all these kids like, oh, what's that damn song? I forgot her name. Something Stallion and Cardi B. Is that her name? The one with the makeup face? But they do a song called WAP, right? Now bear in mind, this is mainstream music, which a lot of people listen to, a lot of children listen to, right? How the hell did that song, how's it aired? I'm not even going to go on to what WAP stands for because it's not a wireless access point, though they might be if I'm not going to get into that. Anyway, it just makes me question, is music done, really? I mean, I'm very passionate for music. I think if you talk to anyone I know, they'll tell you the same thing. I love music. I love, I play the guitar pretty much all the time. I'm always writing. And it is a massive part of my life, all down, really, to my mum and dad. And it's a case of, I look at what it means to me, and I think, how many more people have that feeling, that same passion, and how many people have lost it because of, really, what you hear on the radio now, I mean, I say radio, Spotify and, was it iTunes and everything. But it's just, I think it's slowly making a comeback because, especially with lockdown, there were so many artists that realised, we can't really do much, so they just kept writing. And I just find it really bizarre that, I don't know, I just find it really bizarre that music's kind of in this weird equilibrium at the minute, where anyone can make it, essentially. Like, even down to doing a podcast, all you need is an interface, a microphone, and some like software. And most of the time you can get a free software, like a free program to edit and stuff. But because it's so easy, like, I don't get all these rappers that suddenly keep coming out of the woodworks with freaking multicoloured hair and skittle teeth and tattoos on the face. And you're like, what message are you projecting here? You know what I mean? And it'll all go back to rock with me and metal. But how is it metal gets a bad rep when you got these freaks, promoting all sorts of crap? Especially the style. What the fuck is up with that? Anyway, I could be here for ages talking about how. I mean, have you ever seen the Family Guy episode where it's a very bad racist joke, but Peter Griffin's like, I think he's got like 80s rappers, and he's like, oh my god, the 90s rappers are coming, and basically, it's like MC Hammer fighting like Tupac and Biggie. That doesn't happen in the show, but that's the similar thing. So you go from like proper like, I don't know, happy sounding rap to like, well, guns and shit, essentially. And the cartoon portrayed it really well. And I think, what would happen if those 90s artists in their prime, so you imagine it, I'll just use Tupac and Biggie. My knowledge is not the best on this subject. But imagine if them and all the people they knew were in the same era as Lil Pump. That's all I'm going to be able to do with that. Trippie Redd, I think I saw that name once. It's a no contest, let's be honest. Lyrically, for a start, they're shit. Some of them are alright. Their lyrics are genuinely amazing, but a lot of them, it's just terrible. And on that note, I'm gonna say bye, because I'm now physically depressed from thinking about it. You never know. Maybe on one podcast I might actually play something that we've wrote. Do a bit of promotion for the band. Hope you're listening, lads. You owe me. A drink for all my hard work. But yes, that's going to leave this episode as a finish, really. Yeah, just finding things to say now. I'm still trying to think of something to call you guys. I really thought the Zeppelins was going to be cool, but I can barely say it, so it's really hard to try and make, like Hulk Hogan had Hulkamaniacs, Chris Jericho had Jerichoholics. I can't really call you Zeppelins. Sounds like a venereal disease. I will think of something. Anyway, I hope you have a good rest of whatever you're doing, and if you're not doing anything, do more of that. Until next time, my friends, I'll say bye.